This is something I think about sometimes, which is one of those thoughts that you don't say out loud that much, but I've realized is true and I'm comfortable with, which is I want as many advantages as I can get in life. So I try to stack up the combination of the natural advantages I was born with, the privileges that I've been given access to, um, and anything good that I can get. And I don't wish to do so directly in a way that takes away from others. Although you could argue that if you have an advantage, it must mean someone has a disadvantage. But I certainly don't think about it that way. But I think that I'm often reacting to what a tough childhood I had, um, and so I'm just like, fuck it. I want to make things as good as I can for myself in my adult life, and especially for my son and for my family and the people that I love, including my friends. Um, so I'm, at least to myself privately, I'm very much a fan of not giving up my advantages and almost not celebrating, because I'm not out there, being all excited about it publicly, but I'm happy with whatever advantages I have, and I would like to increase them. And perhaps I can do good with the advantages I have too. That's maybe the more evolved side of me that wants to do that. So it's like part of me is just trying to stay safe and make up for not having enough when I was younger, and the other part of me that's more evolved is saying, okay, now what good can I do with the advantages I have? So curious if you guys would say the same, because it almost feels like something you don't say, is you want as many advantages as you can get.
So I'm someone who also had a rough childhood financially and emotionally and a lot of reasons, and it was very hard. And so yeah, I definitely do. And I don't like saying that, but I've been born with some advantages, but some things I had to fight really, really hard for, and there's no way I'm giving that up.
Yeah.
And I want to make, to me, I'm young, but I want to make the life that is what 8-year-old Grace needed. The safety she needed, the stability she needed, the things she wanted and couldn't have. That's the kind of life I want to make. And, I'm pretty cutthroat when it comes to getting what I want. And it's something that's made me successful. But it's also something that sometimes I get a little scared about in myself, because I fight so hard and I want so much that sometimes I'm like, whoa, Grace, hold on. Like I'm not, ruining people's lives or anything, but I will definitely fight you to the end if for that promotion or for that spot in that program. Like I will get it. I'm sorry, but I will get it because I'm going to do whatever it takes. And it scares me sometimes. I'm like, wait, hold on, Grace. Take a step back. Is this healthy? I don't know if it's healthy, but just what I like think in my head.
Yeah, I think I feel different. My experience is quite different. I um in a few different thoughts. Part of the most basic of which is like, to answer your original question. I mean, I think like consciously and overtly, I have this kind of philosophy of you should take advantage of your advantages and use them for both your own enjoyment and also to help others. And if you let them go to waste, that's the wrong thing to do. That's the bad thing to do. And when I think of that, I went to a private school in New York City where a really large fraction of people there were the children of bankers, very wealthy. And it's always bummed me out that all of those kids who could do anything in the world, both pleasurable and good for the world, chose to themselves go back into banking. Like that kills me. That just like, it's like if you have a trust fund that sets you up for life or whatever, and you go into that, I don't know, that just really bumps me out. And I've always had this philosophy that I was being shaped by that I should both, I guess it comes up most often with respect to career, do something I enjoy and do something that is actually good, given the advantages that I had. But at the same time, I also think I'm not competitive. I don't like, there's part of me that feels like I should get rid of my advantages or diminish, like turn my attention away from them. Or when I like I can think of specific instances where it's in a sort of self-defeating way. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying this is not something that's helped my life. But I was very good at debating in high school. And I got to college and I tried doing it once, and it went very, very well. And there was actually something about that made me not want to do it again, because I was like, this is hollow. I was like, I just did this without a lot of effort and like did well. And like, that's not true of most things that I do, you know, but there's something about that actually was aversive to me, if that makes sense. Like that made it seem less worthwhile. And I think I sometimes can be self-defeating about saying, well, I shouldn't compete for that, or I'm not gonna take full advantage of what I can, because that would be the wrong thing to do, or that seems hollow or not worthwhile or something. That might be kind of abstract, but I think I can be self-defeating about that sort of thing.
I have a question for you, Ethan.
Sure.
Did you have a stable childhood?
That's a complicated question.
Did you grow up with money?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a difference. You feel like so I'm not saying, this is my perception of, so I know a lot of kids who they don't need to worry about money, and I was someone who had to worry about money way too young and worked really young. I feel like people that have grown up in households, whether or not it's emotionally stable, but financially stable, those people don't necessarily have the same cutthroat drive as the people who have worried where their next meal is going to come from or eaten at the food bank, because you haven't seen that reality, you know? And that's just, for example, my ex-boyfriend, his family's wealthy and he's a great guy. His family's a great person. And one thing that never clicked with us is I'm always trying to go, stack up as many advantages so I can be safe, have what I need, and help others. And he's kind of coasting. And I never understood that until I realized, oh, it's because you've never needed to hustle. You've never had that, oh my God, how am I going to pay for that? Like, how are my basic needs going to be met?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that's a factor that plays into it.
No, I think it's it. I really agree. As I've met, the more people I meet from really different backgrounds than mine, the more I think that's true. And I notice something that has its advantages and disadvantages that is distinctly different in them than it is in me. And it's different, even though I was raised to be frugal. I was raised to worry about whether spending money is appropriate. You know, I wasn't raised to be casual with money or to like live in luxury, but those things were, and I thought those things were important. But as I've met more people, I've realized that those things are less important, and the fact that we weren't actually worried about actual bad things happening because of money, that there is a very distinct difference that it seems will persist pretty much, you know, for the long haul. And I think you're right.
Yeah.
You seem to have a reaction.
Oh, well, first I was trying to I like Grace's point. I'm trying to think, because I had a different response that was in a different direction, but now I'm off thinking about that. Grace and I have a lot in common in that respect. However, so I grew up without much money, but we were lower middle class. We, you know, me and my two brothers lived on my mom's teaching salary. So, you know, whatever that is, it's not poverty, but it's not much. But I was given influence from my dad's side. I didn't see my dad very much, and he fetishized money in a way that was very culturally sanctioned. You know, where I grew up, it was just like people that had money were like exciting and interesting and better in some way. It's like clearly everybody wanted that. So I just got that idea and sought money. And had so much anger about things that had nothing to do with money. And I thought that money would solve my problems. I thought that I could be free and be loved and be seen and all the things that I wanted if I had enough money to have the luxury of like basically buying people's affection. That was what was in my brain unconsciously. And so I was quite cutthroat earlier in my career where I didn't care about anything, but like that was my freedom and I deserved it and stuff like that. So for whatever the reason is, if you're seeking money and there's a desperation behind it, or making up for something that wasn't gotten, where somehow money is the magical answer, which having like a currency that can buy many different things is, it's easy to make that a magical answer. That's powerful. When I hear Grace talk, and that the other time we talked, I had this feeling too. I was like, this is someone that's clearly going to be financially successful. There's no doubt in my mind because of this. However, that to me like doesn't make me say, well, cool, she is going to be more successful. I almost in a way think of what Ethan is doing as just like a really nice evolved way to be. Like, I wonder, Grace, if you have kids, would you want your kids to strive for wealth the way
Absolutely.
you are?
So first off, I don't want kids, but
If you
um
did, yeah.
um my thing is, I know it's not a healthy thing, and I've tried to work on my, so one of the reasons I want to be successful is a lot of just a chip on my shoulder and a
Mhm.
lot of proving to people that I'm not going to be what everyone expects me to be, and I'm going to do something more than the cards I was given. And kind of just like an FU to people who, you know, have played a bad role in my life. Like, see, you did all these bad things to me, and I turned out a lot better than you.
Mhm.
And I know I'm going to be, there's no doubt in my mind I will be financially successful, but to me, that doesn't mean I'm going to be happy. And that's something I really worry about for myself, because I can
Mhm.
totally envision myself being incredibly financially successful and not being happy. And to me, as someone who struggles a lot with mental health, that's something I've been trying to work on. I've been trying to slow down, and even it hasn't been working, so gotta work more on that. But I need to start realizing, like, I want to be successful enough that I don't have to worry about where I'm going to live or what I'm going to eat, but I don't need to be feeling like I need money is the only way I'm going to become successful, because I can be successful in a lot of other ways, you know, emotionally, connecting wise, like relationships, all those things, those are contribute to success. And if I had kids, um, I would want them to like look for the things in life that make them happy and not necessarily financially. But I would want to have provided my children a life that they didn't have to stress out about money the same way I did. So they wouldn't necessarily have that same value, because if I did my job right, they wouldn't have the same worries I did.
Mhm.
And that's why I have a dog.
I like that. Yeah, I would say it's kind of like my goal to well, it is a goal that my son doesn't have to toil and have the same type of, he would never have the same type of relationship with money than I did, because he won't fetishize it, you know, as an answer to something, you know, that's in fantasy. But I'd like for him to have to strive for resources that are not financial. You know, his health, his relationships, his, you know, social currency, whatever gives him meaning and makes him happy. I'd say in that order. So I'd say that I want my son to have to deal with some of the challenges that, at least I imagine on this very little information I have just in this conversation, that Ethan is dealing with. I like I like what it sounds like you're doing, Ethan, in that you're struggling for something. You're doing it, I mean, in part through your profession that you're going into, and you know, it's up to you to make meaning from that. So you have that challenge. I have no idea what your financial situation is. I assume your parents still have money, but and I don't know how much of that you have access to, if any. But I assume that you're just not as worried about it because you didn't grow up like struggling. And I think that gives rise to something that the world needs more than people that are striving the way everybody had to 100 years ago, 50 years ago.
But I just want to point out though the incredible privilege in getting to live like that. And you know, the fact that like I love the fact that that people are going to be striving more towards emotional currency and things like that. That's fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to point out the fact that that's a very big privilege.
So maybe that's the answer to the original question of what's my biggest advantage in life.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's
it's uncomfortable, but I hear what you're saying.